Some topics are a taboo to talk about, but we need to talk about them. Not every pregnant woman who enters a hospital leaves with their baby. Some end in a miscarriage and loss of a baby. Can some women say, like Jessica Murray, that I gave my baby back to God? Join me in this episode when we dissect painful issues of the end of a pregnancy. Welcome to the first show of Secrets of Superpowered Moms, Journeys of Motherhood with God. My name is Dr. Letabo Machaba Simelani, and I am a pediatrician. On this show, we're going to talk about all things motherhood, the pain, the challenges, and the struggles that women have to go through in this motherhood journey. We're going to talk about the victory that we achieve through our Lord Jesus Christ. On this show, joining me today are three powerful, dynamic women, Prof. Salume, Janine, and Jessica. We are going to talk about miscarriages and loss of babies. This topic can never be spoken more than enough. Women have to go through a lot in this journey, the fears, the pain, the judgment, the loss, and we are going to dissect it in the show. So, without wasting any time, ladies, Janine, so happy to have you on the show. Can you please share your story with our mothers and our viewership?
Yes, Doc. So the 4th of January 2018, I was preparing to give birth to my firstborn son. His name was Jordan. We had no issues falling pregnant. We had no issues in the pregnancy. We were very excited to meet him. And the day that we went, it was a planned induction. So they induced me and the day started. There was no warning signs that there might be anything wrong with him or with the pregnancy or with the birth in that time frame. Yeah. When I was 10 centimeters dilated, the doctor came in, I gave birth, and as he came out, he wasn't breathing. So his heart was still beating. Yeah. He was alive, but he wasn't breathing on his own. So they immediately rushed him to the ICU. They started giving him oxygen. And a few hours after that, the pediatrician came to us, the gynecologist came to us, and they basically said that there was nothing that they could do for him. And we had to make the hard decision of keeping him on the machines or switching off the machines. So it was very unexpected. 40 weeks pregnancy, so it wasn't even a early pregnancy or early birth. So that's where our journey started. And shortly after that, obviously, in those early stages, it's very difficult. It's a very dark road ahead. Yes. You don't know how you will ever get through this. You're not even sure what exactly just happened because your body is still going through the birth experience. You still have your milk, but you have no baby to give the milk to. And it was just horrible. But God has been so good to us, and He was so good in that early stages, because the first Sunday that we were watching on live stream, our church, CRC, we were watching, and our pastor preached, and he said that this year you will cross your Jordan River. And our son's name was Jordan, based on the Jordan River. Yes. And to me, immediately that just kind of brought back the focus of, okay, we will get through this. I had no idea how. Yeah. And obviously I had so many doubts and questions and uncertainties, but the promise that we would get to our promised land was very evident. And a few months after that, I was contacted by a magazine company in South Africa, Afrikaans magazine company, and we won a trip to go to the Jordan River. Wow. Because we had the dream very early on to just give him back to God at the Jordan River, where his name was from. And obviously, you don't even know how you will get there in those stages. You just have so many things going on in your mind. But we were blessed to go to the Jordan River and to give him back to God physically. And that was also a very physical journey for us, prophetic journey, flying to Egypt, going to the desert, going the route that the Israelites walked through the Jordan into the promised land physically. Yes, and just fast forwarding past a few years ahead, we got our son Noah. He was born exactly 1 year and 40 weeks after we came back, or after Jordan's birth. And his name is Noah because he's our rainbow baby. You know, God gave Noah the rainbow after the flood. The flood still happened, but he gave him the promise of the rainbow that it would never happen again.
Thanks, Janine. And then, Prof, in your own experience, I know you being a gynae and also being a mom, can you relate to what Janine has been through?
Yeah, definitely. But I think my experience is slightly different because I had 2 first trimester miscarriages. And the issue with first trimester miscarriages is that this baby lives inside of you. No one else sees it. No one knows about it unless you tell them. But the pain is just as much as somebody who has gone through a full pregnancy. And so you go through your time of mourning, your time of grieving, but there's no funeral, you know, no one has seen this child. And it's like, am I imagining things? You know, is this real? Luckily for me, you know, my family was supportive. But then you meet your friends and you're not sure, should I tell them or not? You know, talking about a first trimester miscarriage, you never know what you're going to go through or how people are going to receive it. Because for some people, it's like they immediately feel that sense of loss and they want to grieve with you. And for others, it's just like, oh, maybe God was protecting you from something. And you're thinking, how can God protect me from my own child? You know. So I think that you carrying a person inside of you, you've already thought through, this child is going to grow up and be this and all of that. You go through those emotions as a pregnant woman. And when you lose that child, you know, to some people, it's like this child never existed, and trying to reconcile all of those emotions. But then as a gynae as well, it was the fact that I could see before my gynae told me that, you know, the heart isn't beating, I could see. And so you're going through working it out in your mind that this baby has died, but then you can see your gynae is anxious as well because he's hoping the baby's alive. And so you also go through that separate emotion as a medic, you know, seeing this for yourself and almost diagnosing yourself, but also having to internalize it as a woman, as a mother, as an individual.
Wow, often as pediatricians, we also get called in to sometimes assist moms who've had miscarriages. And you know, we never know what to say, you know, especially if you've never been through it. You try and encourage, but I'm just so enlightened and so it's so heartfelt to hear you share your stories. Jessica, you had an interesting encounter where in the book, your story has been moving women all over the world in South Africa. There's no one who reads your story and doesn't break out in tears. Can you share a bit about your story?
Yes, so my son Daniel was born on World Premature Day, 17 November 2020 in COVID. Unfortunately, COVID took a lot from us and actually seeing my own son. But the day he was born, I immediately knew I had to change my life. I had to give everything to God. I knew prayer is what's needed. And Daniel was in the first hospital for 3 weeks and then got transferred to Dr. Machaba's hospital, Sunning Hill Netcare, where she took over. And that's actually where the real journey began. It was having faith. I mean, I wouldn't say God put this on our road because you as a mother, you as a mother, you as a mother. Will you ever put glass in front of your child and tell your child, come to me, and knowing your child's going to get hurt? No, why would God then do that to you? If he loves you as his own. So it's not God that made your child go through all these things. But at the end, we had to stay faithful. And Daniel, with every sickness, every infection, everything he pushed through, we kept faith. And even though there wasn't always answers, you know, you know his diagnosis. There wasn't sometimes even a diagnosis. But we kept praying, we kept strong. we just had to remain faithful. And I knew God was there when he died. And I knew he was there before he died. He just waited for me to actually give him back. The night before Daniel passed, I told my husband, you know what, let's do our own little christening, dedication. And we did that. I anointed him with oil and I said, God, here's my son, he's yours. Do with him as you please. If not, heal him, take him. And he did. The next morning he passed away. He took my son home. He actually took away everything that the devil put upon him, the pain, he took it away, the suffering, the machines, the everything. And the nice part about it is when he already passed and I saw my beautiful baby wrapped in white linen, no machines, no drips, no nothing, peaceful, knowing where he was, knowing where he went, and knowing the devil still lost, because where do babies go? Definitely not where he is. I think what the devil tried to do was break down my faith and like, you know what, I don't care anymore. I don't believe anymore. No, and it never happened. I still do believe. God blessed me with a beautiful rainbow baby. Yeah. It came with struggles and other problems, but he's healthy. And what I'm trying to say is it's never God who puts you through faith tests and things. Yeah. It's the devil that brings these bad things over you, because God won't hurt you purposely. Why? He loves you as his own. You won't put your child through pain. You won't. No. Will you ever purposely put your own child through pain? No. Then why would people say it's God's plan if you went through pain? It's not his plan. His plan was waiting for me to actually say, you know what, God, take him. Yes. Just take him. My faith kept him alive. It kept my child alive, but it was for me to say, no, the devil is not going to win this child. The devil's not going to win. My faith is not going to win. God, take him. And when God answered, it restores your faith even a little bit more, because the night I'd said, you know what, take him. He did. And what does it mean? There is a God. At the end of the day, it was to show me that he wanted him. And I think the day Daniel passed, the angels were celebrating because a prophet went to heaven. Because actually Daniel's story reached over 2,000 people. It even reached different countries, India, Australia, different places that my son's story reached people. I had a Facebook group, social media, and I think the day the angels received him, they knew they received the prophet. Because I think my son's preaching in heaven. I mean, I didn't go and lie down and say, I can't believe anymore. How did God take my child? Then people compared with Lazarus. Yes, he woke him up from the dead, but did he stay alive? No, he did. He didn't. Lazarus didn't stay alive. He passed again. Yes. And it's not the same thing. He had a different purpose. My son had his purpose, even though it was for only barely 5 months. He had his purpose and he served it. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, wow, I'm so happy. This woman is a woman of faith. Through that whole ordeal, she was actually encouraging us as the doctors and praying for us and standing in faith.
Yes, and I was known as the mother of faith in hospital. I actually terrified the pulmonologist. I can't remember his name. And he's like, that woman terrifies me.
So now let's talk about the pain and the judgment. I know you've all sort of touched on it. Some women really struggle. Like, how do you then face the community? How do you face your family after all of this? What was your experience, Janine? Yeah.
Wow, Doc, it's actually, you get to learn yourself, or you get to know yourself on a whole nother level because there's no quick fix for something like that. In our case, obviously, we went to church and it was after December holiday. People knew I was pregnant. They could see I was pregnant. And going back to church after December, not having my baby, I almost felt so embarrassed and ashamed. And people would come to me, hi, excited, where's your baby? And then it's like, you don't really know what to tell them. You don't know how much detail to give. You feel ashamed for a moment because you feel kind of guilty, like for not having your baby in a weird way. But that's something that God also restored for us. Not just seeing myself as the woman who had lost her baby, but to see myself as much more than that, and to find my identity in him again. And society really does care. There are people that was just curious to find out what happened, but there are really people that did care. And that's what we saw. And to also ask God for those people, to reveal those people, and to sometimes break ties with other people who's not good for you in that season.
Oh, wow. And Prof, in your experience? Yeah.
So my journey was a bit hard because you haven't told people that you're pregnant, you know, it's still early pregnancy, you're still waiting to show, you're waiting for the right time. And now you're not pregnant, you're grieving, you're mourning. Do I tell them what I'm going through, or do I, you know? And so, of course, those who are close family, very close friends, you tell them. But then sometimes you choose not to talk because you know that it's going to be heavier if someone says the wrong thing. You almost have to protect yourself from telling certain people. And of course, as a young woman, you're a young wife. When I had my first son, miscarriage, second son, miscarriage, and people will still walk to you during that moment and say, so when are you having your next child? You know, and people are constantly ready to ask us as women, when is the next child, the next child? And they're not interested, or they don't think that we might be going through other things, you know, and that it might actually be an insensitive topic. So with the first one, you know, surrounded by family, I was able to tell people, and I would choose carefully, at least with the distant friends, whether I tell them or not. With the second one, I was in another country. I was in the United States. When I found out, my husband wasn't even in the country. So had to tell him, and he had to arrange that, okay, he'll be there in a few days' time. But there was a sensitivity of, okay, how do I tell people when I'm not even there? We had to think about, you know, if we tell my parents and my in-laws right now, you know, how do you handle such information? Because everyone's instinct is, let me pack my bags, let me go and support. But you can't when someone is in another country. And even when we got to a space where, okay, now I was back in South Africa, people were just too happy to see me that I couldn't share the bad news I was going through. And so I felt like I was grieving silently. It was like my secret. It was our family secret. And outside, we just had to play along with the mood of the day. So I found it really hard. And because there is no funeral, you know, for first trimester miscarriage, I'd attended someone's, a relative's funeral. They'd lost a baby a few months later, 1-year-old. And I got to that funeral and I just cried and cried, you know. But I just found a place where I could express my own emotions and release it, you know. So it's a bit hard when all you can really do is write in a journal how you're feeling, but there is no proper moment of closure. So I found it to be really hard.
Yeah, it's just enlightening how she says it was a lonely journey. With you, Jessica, you had to go through your pain with masses, doctors, nurses, crowds. You can't even mourn in your own house.
No, there wasn't time to mourn anyway. But you do, when you do get alone time. I think because I had daily updates with Daniel on Facebook, everybody knew when he passed, everybody knew why he passed, so there wasn't many questions. But there was judging because Daniel passed in April and I fell pregnant in May. So there was judging. How could you be pregnant so fast? Is your stomach big enough, the stomach, to keep your baby in? People are judgmental. And I'm like, and I didn't care what they said. I mean, if God didn't want me to have a baby, it wouldn't have happened. I mean, Daniel was a first try baby, Nolan was a first try baby, and people will judge. I mean, I was judged saying, yeah, you tried too early, that's why your baby is going to be born with a cleft lip, because you did it too soon. And many, many mean things that was said. And I just knew, you know what, people has actually got no opinion on me, because this journey is not with them. It's me and the husband and God, and we will get through this. And you know that even Nolan, my rainbow baby, is a miracle baby. I mean, I was told to terminate and all those things, and people were like, you never took your pregnancy vitamins, you never did this, and you never did that. And at the end of the day, Nolan's cleft lip was genetics. It was from his great-grandfather, and he's healthy. Even with all the judging, he was born and everybody loves him. And some say, yeah, you just replaced Daniel. No, I never replaced him. Yes, he eases the pain, but he doesn't take it away. And we don't get over it. You learn to adapt around it. The pain will forever be there, the questions, and sometimes, like the grandparents would ask, I wonder how Daniel would be today. And it makes it nice to speak about it. What makes me angry is when they don't speak about him. It's like he existed. He was there. Yes, we never really got to see him grow because he was constantly sleeping or sick or whatever. And but when we speak about him, you remember him and you just imagine him running around and all those things. He was my baby for 4 months, and it was 10 days short from 5 months. Daniel will always be my first true love. And then comes the little brother, the spoiled one. He is spoiled, mama's little boy. And you know, like Jordan, he will forever be your first true love, and nothing can replace that. None of your children can. I personally think Daniel is my guardian angel, because there's times where things happen where I wasn't supposed to be alive, but I'm alive. And people don't think about it that way because they don't have the faith and the religion like we do. I don't know. Some people must just realize that God is the only way.
Amen. Oh, ladies, this is absolutely phenomenal. I can already sense a lot of healing taking place in our communities and for our moms out there. Just to wrap up, what would you say to your younger self after going through what you've gone through? What words of advice would you give to yourself in just 2 sentences, each one of you? What would you say to your younger self?
I would say that there's always hope. There's always hope after whatever you face. I agree with you. It's not God who causes these things. This is an imperfect world. Bad things happen, accidents happen. We don't have the answers for those things. But I think we should get to a point where we can also stop asking for reasons and just ask God for His revelation. You know, in the life that in just the everyday life things that happens, and challenges and promises and blessings and sad times, all of it, because God is a part of all of it. But He does not cause the bad things to happen. And if something bad happens to you, just to really put on the gears that you need and go with God, because that's the only way that you can really get through these things. I really don't know how you get through a loss of a child or a miscarriage or fertility issues, or there's so many things when it comes to family planning. I don't know how you do it without God. So just stick with Him. He is faithful. He will be with you. And even if it seems dark and endless, He will be with you.
Amen. And then Prof?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just that acknowledgement that not every pregnancy is easy. Not every pregnancy has a good outcome. We've romanticized pregnancy that, from the moment a woman says, I'm pregnant, we are all excited. And women go through very difficult things. They go through fears, emotions, worries about babies having abnormalities, all sorts of things. And I think we should just kind of normalize the fact or the question, how are you doing and how are you handling things, and not romanticize everything around pregnancy. I just wish someone would have said to me that, you know what, just take this journey as it is, and see where it goes. Trust God, but don't have this romantic picture. At the end of the day, I'm happy. I've got my 2 sons, lovely boys. I'll always live with the fact that I had 2 other babies that didn't make it. But I don't regret my journey. I just feel no one prepared me for a bad outcome. And maybe we should, as older women, prepare others for that reality and create a supportive environment.
As you're saying that, keep it real. When she's talking, I'm just hearing, keep it real. The good, the bad, and the ugly, keep it real.
When you sometimes feel like you don't know how to pray anymore because bad things just keeps happening, just remember, when you yourself don't pray, your soul will pray for you. Your soul will be the intermediate for you, and you can take a rest. It's okay to take a rest, and it's okay to not always be on your knees, because your soul will stand in for you. I think I told you that before. that when you're tired, your soul is never tired. Your soul will carry on believing and praying for you. So when you're ready to get back up on your feet, you just go on where you left it. You never lose it. You'll just know, okay, just carry on. It's not like you're starting over, not you carrying on. My soul stood in for me. And it's okay to sometimes feel like, is there even a God? Because sometimes we do doubt, and it's okay to do that. But just remember not to ever give up on faith. It doesn't matter what you go through. I mean, look at this. You've got your children, you've got your children, you've got yours, I've got mine. Even if you do, sometimes there is mothers out there that doesn't get the opportunity to have one, but then God somehow puts it on your way, like a close friend of yours makes you so part of that child's life that you get to feel the love of a baby. But there's always a God that makes a plan for you. And that's what we have to look forward to. That's what I would tell my young self, is that when you're not praying, your soul is praying for you. And it's the truth. And I mean, we do get tired, and it's normal, and it's okay to get tired. It's okay, but as long as you just stand up again and be on your feet, that's the main purpose, is to never stop having faith and believing in God.
Wow, this was absolutely heartwarming and amazing. To our viewership, we want to say to you, you are never alone. You've heard the stories from yourself, from all these beautiful, wonderful women that God has uplifted. You are never alone, and that's me closing up. As you heard for yourselves, death is not the end. It is not the end. Join me for our next episode when we talk about marriage and children.
If you are watching this show, we want you to know that no matter what you are going through, you are not alone. Contact us on the details below, because we have pastors and leaders waiting to help, connect, and pray with you. Step into a new chapter in your journey with Jesus Christ, because He loves you and He is waiting for you.
The journey of motherhood is a walk filled with many challenges. From the heart-wrenching miscarriages, morning sicknesses, post-pregnancy bodies, to nurturing and dealing with adolescents. Pediatrician Dr. Letabo Machaba brings you her new life-changing book, Secrets of Superpowered Moms, Journeys to Motherhood with God, which is a compilation of stories from God-led, powerful, dynamic women whose testimonies will bring hope and encouragement from conception to raising your young ones. To get yourself a copy of this book, contact us today.